What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the YouTube preview show here for March 4th. It's a Wednesday. I'm the Siege, otherwise known as CJ Kaltenbach. I guess otherwise known as, that's my name. Anyways, welcome. We've got 9 games today, and we've had a ton of injury news break in the last 20 minutes. So this is actually going to be pretty up to date. We've got some news that I don't think really anyone expected. So we'll definitely talk about that as we go. And a matter of fact, we'll start with it right away. The Boston Celtics are first team up. They're at Cleveland. They are a short favorite. Jason Tatum did not travel with the team, but is now listed as probable, which is good because Jaylen Brown is out. Gordon Hayward is out. Kemba Walker is out. So we've got the Celtics without 3 of their big 5. Jason Tatum, 9,900. Coming off an illness, boy, the usage rate's going to be through the roof. Tough for me to fade him, but the price is tough. Like, he's going to have to put up 70 to really, man, I guess 60 gets it done. It's just, man, I love Jason Tatum. I'm a huge truther. I've been a fan forever. But just, boy, that is a lot of fantasy points to get to. But hard to see the usage rate, just not in the 30s today. So probably a really good option here today. Marcus Smart, 7,000. Again, similar situation. Like, it's a fair price. It's a good matchup against Cleveland, but boy, that's expensive for Marcus Smart. You know, he's going to need one of those 50-point games to really help you in tournaments. Not saying those are impossible. They definitely are. Played really well last night. Could again. It's a good matchup. It's going to be fast-paced. But, you know, it's definitely no-brainer for sure. I like them, but I wouldn't call them locks. A lot of the early value we had early in the day is now gone. We thought guys like Romeo Langford would play 25 minutes. Now that's probably cut. Grant Williams, Carson Edwards, same type of deal. All these guys that we thought were in the upper 20s for minutes are now going to kind of be in the lower 20s. I guess the exception to that's Brad Wanamaker, but we've all done the Brad Wanamaker thing. The answer to me is just no. If Brad Wanamaker breaks the slate, then I just lose, and I move on to the next one. You know, I love Cleveland this morning, too. They were a team that looked pretty good against what looked like the main Red Claws at the time. You know, with Tatum back, that defense should be better. It's no gimme, especially at these prices on DraftKings. I think the FanDuel prices are definitely better for those guys. I still like them over on FanDuel a ton. They got pretty skittish here on the DraftKings prices now. Sexton has got a ceiling, but it's not quite as high as it was earlier. Same with Love. Same with Nance. I'm kind of just out on Cleveland now, and this was a team that I really liked earlier on in the day. Oklahoma City at Detroit. Christian Wood, game time decision. Derrick Rose is out. Realistically, probably out for the season. Kennard's still out. Bruce Brown is a game time decision. Brandon Knight, a game time decision. Thon Maker, a game time decision. Sekou Demboye, a game time decision. So we have basically the entire Detroit team hurt. We'll start there. You know, I expect Wood to play. I expect Knight to play. But that's really about it. Maybe Sekou plays, but I'm not super confident in that. For me, it's just this team is playing so many bodies. There just really isn't a reason to play any of them other than Christian Wood against the Thunder, 7,700. High usage rate here with no Derrick Rose. I think he's going to play a ton. You know, the point guard situation's ugly. I wanted Svi to just play 33 minutes and just take this job and go put a ceiling up. He just hasn't done it yet. He just doesn't really do anything other than shoot. And it's going to be tough to consistently play a guy like that if all he's going to do is shoot. You know, he's basically J.J. Redick, except can't shoot anywhere near as well as J.J. Redick. So, you know, Knights, I'm just not paying $4,500 for Brandon Knight on this slate. Thunder are a good defensive team. Really, it's just Christian Wood for me, and even that I'm not super wild about. For the Thunder, per usual, when the Thunder are healthy, I just have no interest in any of them. If one of the big 5 are out, Paul, Shea, Adams, Gallinari, Schroeder, I'll play someone else. But I'm not going to play Noel looking for 21 points over, 17 minutes. That's just, to me, not a long-term success option. So I'll take a pass on Noel, take a pass on this team, and really we'll just move on to the next game. Indiana at Milwaukee. Milwaukee 11-point favorites. We'll start with Indiana. Oladipo's a game time decision with that knee. I would expect that he's back, but we don't know for sure. And if he's back, this team to me is really a tough matchup for Indiana. They just don't have the spacing to shoot. Like, you could argue Miles Turner could be the stretch guy that can really stretch out the floor, but Miles Turner just hasn't shot that well from three this year. Although it's been a little better of late. But I just don't see the double-double upside. And if he's not going to get a double-double, he's just not going to pay off 6,500. I'm sorry, 5,500. So, for me, this is a team that I really just don't have a lot of interest in today, especially with Depot back. The prices are up. The matchup's not great. Just don't really see anything here that I'm like desperately attempting to play. Milwaukee, Giannis is always in play. The price on Bledsoe is probably too cheap at this point at 5,900. He's coming off 3 really bad games. But we saw before that he's got a ceiling, and at 5,900, 36 to 40 points really gets him in tournament winning consideration. So if you're looking for something a little off the board, I think Eric Bledsoe is that guy. Other than that, though, I'm not playing in the other guys. The value guys are all rotating. They're fighting for playoff rotation minutes. They're going to keep rotating. So just for me, that's just not anything I have a real interest in at this point. Orlando at Miami. This is a 218 total. Miami's favored by 7. Aaron Gordon's a game-time decision. Jonathan Isaac, of course, is still out with that torn ACL. I don't really have anything here I love. I don't hate the Vooch versus Bam matchup, but I'm not like desperately attempting to get to it. Fultz is 5,200. I mentioned it last time. He's going to break a slate at some point soon. He's just too cheap for what his ceiling is, but at Miami, really not the spot for it. On the Miami side of the basketball, Bam, Jimmy Butler seem like good options. Don't mind Duncan Robinson if you're looking for a value. We just lost a lot of value. He's got a ceiling. Definitely has a floor, so I wouldn't go crazy with him. But I don't mind that. He'll play big minutes, which is really all you need most of the time against the Magic. So that's definitely an option if you want to go in that direction. The rotation for the Heat starting to cut down. They're just working Iguodala back in slowly but surely. So playing him like 14, 15 minutes a night. Just get him into it. You really don't need him to the playoffs, so they're just getting him back in shape. So it really is kind of just a pretty small rotation. But for me, it's really just Butler, Bam, and then Duncan Robinson for value. 4,100, I think, is a totally fair price for him, given the minutes and his ceiling. Memphis at Brooklyn. Brooklyn's favored on a back-to-back coming off the big overtime win in Boston. For me, the guy who stands out here right now is Dillon Brooks. I know that Milton and Anderson grade out better, but Brooks has the ceiling here. He's taken 26, 22, 24, and 17 shots. And that 17 shots is over 24 minutes. The usage rate's through the roof on Dillon Brooks. Dillon Brooks is a 33% usage guy. It's just insane over the last 4. If he's going to keep that kind of usage going, and it certainly looks like it's going to with these injuries, especially in a matchup against Brooklyn on the back-to-back, you have to just hope he makes some shots, because if he does, he's going to be on those tournament-winning teams. I don't hate Anderson and Melton, but I'm worried about the Anderson minutes here. Really no one from the guard in Brooklyn. Melton's probably the better of the options, but he just hasn't played a ton of minutes. And it's just really tough when you're playing a guy counting on 6x, and he's only playing 24 minutes. He really has to be a fantasy point per minute player. Can't have any sort of bad game and still get that ceiling from him. So for me, it's really Dillon Brooks is kind of the key play here. I'm really not touching any of the other guys. Maybe John Morant, maybe Jonas, but the price is up on Jonas. It's probably a little out of my comfort zone. Dillon Brooks, though, 5,400 in this spot on the back-to-back, is the guy that just really stands out with an increased usage rate. Brooklyn, look, Karis LeVert's going to be popular just because of what he did last night. I can't go there. I think guys that I would have interest in are Taurean Prince. I know he's been kind of getting cut in terms of the minutes lately, but I'm not going to freak out there. This is a good matchup for him, especially with Garrett Temple out. Minutes should be pretty secure. Dinwiddie's not the worst option in the world, but the price is up on them. LeVert's going to be so popular just based on what he did last night. It's just tough for me to imagine he's going to repeat that on the back-to-back. So that's going to be a fade for me. I think the net I have the most interest in is Prince. You could talk me into Joe Harris, but 5,100 is probably too expensive for him, just given that he's kind of a one-trick pony, and that's shooting. Utah at the Knicks. The Knicks are 8-point dogs here. Utah is fully healthy. They are just playing their 7-man rotation with Niang and Bradley stealing a few minutes and just give some breathers. The pricing is kind of match that now. There really isn't any sort of value to be had here on Utah. You're just kind of hoping for a blow-up spot against the Knicks if you play any one of these guys. Clarkson's an option to do that. Obviously, anytime he gets on the floor, he can have that kind of explosion. But on a slate with this many high totals, with the value we're going to show later, is that really the way you want to go? Probably not for me. So I'm going to take a pass here on Utah. The Knicks, Elf Payton's price went down because RJ Barrett played bananas last game out. Mitchell Robinson's game time decision. If he doesn't play, that's obviously a boost to Randall and Portis and Taj Gibson. They're going to need that size against Utah. But I don't love any one of their spots per se. I guess Bobby Portis stretching out the floor would be the favorite of the bunch if Robinson sat. But you just never know what he's going to do. He's streaky. The coaching staff doesn't necessarily love him. So it's definitely hot or cold, but he definitely has a ceiling if Mitchell Robinson sits. Good late swap play on DraftKings too. If we don't happen to know that before lock, you can definitely slide in Bobby Portis after lock and kind of get a little nice low-owned play with a big ceiling, even if it is a tough matchup. Elf Payton has a ceiling anytime he touches the floor. So does RJ Barrett. Played one of his better games last time out, but I need to see it a little more consistently before I'm playing RJ Barrett, especially against a team that has a ton of rim protection, which is the exact opposite of that last matchup against Houston where he excelled. I need to see him have a big game against a team with the front court first. Actually, both his big games were against Houston. So again, that lack of rim protection probably was helpful for him. Chicago at Minnesota. This game's got a little more interesting now that we've lost some of the Celtics value. Zach Lavine, obviously, is the most important player. He's going to be out for a while, a.k.a. we need to lose some games. That means Kobe White's going to be in the driver's seat here, running a lot of point guard, taking a ton of shots. He's taken over 17 in each of the last 5. The price has probably gotten to the point now where he's going to have to just shoot lights out, kind of Lou Williams-like, to beat this price. But if he's going to have a 31% usage rate, 32% usage rate, it's hard for me to say, fade him, especially against a team like Minneapolis. He hasn't played some of the worst defensive teams in the world. Putting up 50 against Oklahoma City is pretty impressive. That team can play some defense. Phoenix isn't horrible. Washington's horrible, but, Dallas isn't terrible either, and he put up a good game there. So he's a pretty good option, 6,200, I think, if you're looking for an option there. Sato, the ceiling from him is just so random. Wendell Carter's on a minutes limit. Porter's on a minutes limit. Markkanen's on a minutes limit. Basically, everyone else they're playing is on a minutes limit. Valentine's on a minutes limit. So, for me, it's really Kobe White. I think that's probably the best option. He's going to play the minutes no matter what they put around him. And that way you don't have to worry about rotations or anything else. You're going to get 33 minutes from Kobe White, and then you don't really have to worry about it. For Minnesota, this is basically the Malik Beasley, Hernan Gomez, and D'Angelo Russell show. Prices are up on all of them, but against this Bulls defense that's going to be rotating guys, they're coming off of injuries that are probably a step slow. I really do think that Beasley and Russell can attack the rim here, so I don't mind either one if you're looking for something a little contrarian. Naz Reid coming off a monster game against the Pelicans. Is he going to shoot that well on the back-to-back? Maybe, maybe not. I think the double-double's probably fair to expect to come back, but the 3 steals and 2 blocks, not sure about that, but 5,100, I think there's definitely some ceiling here, so you could definitely play him as well if you wanted to go in that direction. Not touching James Johnson or Kogi McLaughlin. You don't want to get caught where you're counting on a Ryan Sanders rotation, because Ryan Sanders rotations are just awful, and you never know what you're going to get at any point. But I do like these guys in the mid-tier, Reed, Hernan Gomez, Beasley, and then Russell is definitely a star option that's available to you. Pelicans at Dallas, 236 total here. We'll start with Dallas because they're pretty simple. It's Luka Doncic, it's Kristaps Porzingis, and that's about it. No one else really has a ceiling here. Tim Hardaway Jr., I guess, randomly can have a ceiling, but 6,500 to find that out. No thanks. Same with Maxi Kleba. Again, he can randomly have a ceiling, but, good luck. He's not going to shoot 50% from the field every game and get 3 steals and a block just to kind of get the tournament value. So that's kind of a pass there as well. It's really just Luka. Don't mind the spot against the Pelicans. Pace-up game, back-to-back. For sure, you can definitely see it, but he hasn't been quite the same consistently yet since the All-Star break, so we'll have to see about that. A lot of that is Kristaps Porzingis too. Porzingis has played really, really well since the break. But I really think that's just been some really nice cupcake matchups. This one is a little harder against a guy like Zion. A little more size, a little more ability than, say, a Jakob Poeltl or Aldridge or Bam or Naz Reid, who really can't defend anyone. So Porzingis is definitely hot, but I'm not touching him at 9K. Someone else can go beat me with Porzingis. I'd much rather just play Luka. I don't think the Luka ceiling games are just going to be dead. So, and I think the ownership on Luka is going to be pretty low tonight too. So there might be a good spot to hop on the Luka train. For the Pelicans, they're finally healthy. Well, that's good other than J.J. Redick. They haven't been healthy in a while. They need to win all these games. So all these guys are going to play big minutes. Tough loss last night to Minneapolis. That's one that they really needed to have. They could steal one versus Dallas. It's basically the same. I think we're going to see Zion get to closer to 35 minutes. Price is probably fair on him, but I think we're going to see big minutes from everyone. Giroux's probably my favorite. He could play 40 if they need it, if the game's close. So 8,300 for Giroux, I don't mind, but I'm probably not going to touch any of these Pelicans unless I'm playing a Dallas guy to go with it. Kind of get the back and forth going if the ceiling hits. Kind of want them to be going back and forth on them. So Giroux and Luka I could see, but I'm not. This isn't a core game for me. What is a core game, though, is Washington at Portland. It is a 242 total, and that even feels low. We'll start with the Washington Wizards. Their prices are up, which is okay, but doesn't really matter. They're not up enough. Shabazz Napier, 5,000 in this spot is too cheap. I know he's splitting minutes I can't think of the guy from the Warriors, Jerome Robinson. But I definitely think that this is a good spot for Napier. Hachimura, this is a great spot. He'll play some minutes. Bertans, this is a great spot. This game is just going to shoot over. It might get into the 260s. And so I wanted some of these value pieces. Jerome Robinson, too, I think finally is going to start working his way into a 30-minute a roll night. They got him from the Wizards for free because they needed the roster spot. He's a first-round pick, had talent, and I think the Wizards are just going to see what they got in him. So I think he's going to play big minutes here. 3,100, he's probably my favorite value source. That's not true. Thomas Bryant just got ruled out, too, right before we hopped on. Let me double-check that, but I am really sure that happened. Could be wrong. That could be fake news. Here it is. Thomas Bryant listed out. So with Thomas Bryant out, we're back to two centers. Mo Wagner and Ian Mahinmi, who's just not been playing recently. So I don't think he's going to play as well. I think they want to play some of these young guys. So I think we'll be looking at, Mo Wagner playing 25 to 30 minutes if he can kind of get it going. This is a better matchup for him, especially with no Thomas Bryant there. I think he'll play minutes. Pashezniks can play some minutes, but meh. So I really think it's going to be Mo Wagner, Hachimura, and Bertans kind of rotating out that front court. So again, they were already good values. I think they're even better values now with Thomas Bryant out for the game today. Oh, one piece of injury news that just popped in here as I was doing the show. Aaron Gordon's now listed as questionable instead of doubtful. If he plays, I definitely have no interest in Vooch. Okay, the Portland Trailblazers, Damian Lillard is back. I don't think we have any word on a minutes limit yet, so we'll have to kind of see what's going to go on there. Hopefully, he's playing some real minutes here. If he does, he's an option because everyone's an option here against the Wizards. But this is definitely a blow to everyone else. Gary Trent moves back to the second unit, but I think he'll play a lot. He played some good basketball, but I'm definitely going to take some shots on Melo still at 5,700, even with Lillard back. It's the Wizards. You can go off against the Wizards, and I still think these guys, they're still going to keep this rotation pretty small. Lillard, Whiteside, McCollum, Melo, Ariza, Trent, and Simon. I guess those six are really going to play a bulk of the minutes, and then Hazonia, Simons, and I guess Swanigan will eat some minutes, but not a ton. I just love all these guys. This is a perfect spot. The Wizards are on a back-to-back. They could easily give up 140 here. I just have a hard time passing on the upside here. I know the situation's bad with Lillard back, but I think that's going to lead to some of these other guys being low owned, and the ceiling is just massive against the Wizards. And without the Celtics value, without the Cleveland value making as much sense now with the better Celtics team out there, I do think this game makes a lot of sense in tournaments. All right, so just to recap, top studs today: Beal. Wow, there really isn't a lot of studs. Tatum, I guess, is probably number 2. He might even be number 1, to be honest. Tatum 1, Beal 2, Luka 3, Whiteside 3, Luka 4. But these stars aren't the world's best. They're not in the world's best spots today. So if you want to drop down in that 8K tier with all those other guys we mentioned, it might not be the worst idea. In terms of value options, Mo Wagner is definitely one of those top options. I mentioned how I'm going to fade Wanamaker, Anderson, and Melton. I do like Naz Reid. I do like Porter. I do like Napier, and I love Jerome Robinson. So those are probably the value guys that I'm going to go towards today. I really appreciate you guys tuning. I owe you guys some Fantasy Cruncher Pros. So we'll do, let's see, we have a 4-game slate on Thursday. So at the top of the show tomorrow, we'll go ahead and draw those winners. But if you want a chance to win a free week of Fantasy Cruncher Pro, go ahead, leave your Fantasy Cruncher username in the comments section with the, let's go with the Portland Trailblazer. Outside of, actually no, not outside of anyone. Just the Portland Trailblazer scores the most fantasy points today. Go ahead, leave that in the comments section with your Fantasy Cruncher username. I'll draw a couple winners tomorrow from across the last week and a half or so of entries. Get you a free chance at Fantasy Cruncher Pro. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like the show. We'll be back tomorrow to cover that 4-game short slate and to draw some winners. Back Friday for the big slate. Really hope you guys enjoyed it, and I really hope you crush this slate, and we'll see you tomorrow.